Hi, I'm Dale Gordon, Film Commissioner for Tampa-Hillsborough County, and you're watching the Tampa Bay Community Network.
Hi, I'm Bill Hodges, and this indeed is Spotlight on Government. And today we have a quasi-government agency to talk with, the Film and Digital Media Commission. And Dale Gordon, you're the commissioner for it. Glad to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
First, let's talk about the commission itself. What is the charter of the commission? What do you actually hope to accomplish?
Well, you know, I always start with talking and telling about film commissions. There are film commissions all over the world. They all operate differently, they're funded differently. Sometimes they have, the more sophisticated the film market, the more services they offer. But the one thing that they have in common is marketing their particular geographical region or area as a filming destination. And why do we care about this?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because of the economic impact of this industry. This is a very high wage industry. It's also a clean industry. And then let's not forget the great added value of tourism that you get from having a television show or movie shot in your area.
People watch the show, and because they see landmarks and beaches or whatever your particular area is, could be Mount Rushmore if you're up north.
Absolutely. I mean, and look
They want to go see it?
Yeah, and look in our backyard. We have a perfect example with the two movies, the Dolphin Tale movies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, those two films were responsible, according to USF, of contributing almost $1 billion of tourism to the St. Pete Clearwater area alone. And so when you look at that kind of economic impact and exposure, you really can't buy that.
I watch a lot of these movies, and it seems to me they get confused, like the Everglades program with the detective and the cop and so forth. And they kept showing pictures of Tampa, and it's supposed to be Miami.
Yeah.
What's the crossover here?
Well, you know, you really got to look at the, you know, we call that movie magic. But at the same time, there are reasons for things. That instance was because the actual pilot was filmed in the Tampa area, but then the series was filmed in the Miami area. So there's a reason to the madness, I guess. But, you know, a lot of the films are really driven by incentives these days, and ultimately that determines where a project will end up filming.
Interesting enough, you mentioned the pilot was shot here, but it moved to Miami. Did they have more money to bring it down there?
Well, they had more.
Just out of curiosity.
They had more infrastructure, you know, and that's something that our commission is also working on building. You know, in order to recruit television series, you need facilities. And that is one thing that we are lacking, is a large-scale soundstage in the Tampa Bay market. We do have wonderful small sound stages, including the one that we're in right now. But in order to do episodic, high-impact episodic, you're talking about, you know, 100,000 square feet or more.
Of course, as you mentioned, Dale, this facility here at Tampa Bay Community Network has all kinds of training programs for aspiring people to get into television production, especially with the green screen technology, all the editing, everything they need to know to get started.
Absolutely. No, this is a terrific facility, and we actively market it as an opportunity for people to come and get educated in the industry.
Great, glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think a lot of this stuff is shot on, it's shot, the location shots, but then they take it back somewhere else and do it, don't they?
They do. It's, you know, for example, you know, we have a feature film that will be in our market soon called The Infiltrator. And, you know, because of the lack of incentives that the state of Florida currently offers, they've had to shoot 90% of the film in England. And because, yes, because they are getting 25 cents on the dollar.
Oh.
But, you know, so the irony there is that they're going to double England for Tampa, and then when they do come here and film, they're going to double Miami or Tampa for Miami. So, I guess ultimately at the end of the day, it'll all look like Tampa, and that's what we hope to get out of it. But
how do you keep track of all this?
It's very hard.
What is your background? Let's jump back a little bit. What is your background? I think people like to know that people are representing them and out there handling these various commissions.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the background of the people that is doing it. What is your background?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Florida native. I'm very proud of that. Born and raised in the Orlando area. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s when there was a lot of the dubbing of Orlando as Hollywood East. And that was because of Universal and Disney opening their sound stages. And so while I was always attracted to the entertainment industry, I was never really interested in the creative side. I'm more of a business-minded and community cheerleader type of a person. And so when I was in college at USF, go Bulls, always have to throw that in. Gotta throw that in, absolutely. I just took film courses as electives just for fun and because I thought it was interesting. And then I heard about this thing called a film commission and went and did an internship, and 3 film commissions later, it's been my entire career for almost 20 years.
Where have you worked before here?
I started in the Palm Beach County Film and Television Commission down in West Palm. Then I spent the majority of my career with the Metro Orlando Film Commission.
Does every county have a film commission?
It's a good question. They don't, actually. We're very lucky in the state of Florida that we have a lot of representation, and the reasoning for that is because the state of Florida has always been the number 3 destination statewide for film production behind California and New York. And so we have taken upon ourselves to be very competitive and to market our areas as such. But really it just depends on how sophisticated your film market is to whether or not you're going to have a film office. I wouldn't imagine Kalamazoo, Michigan has a film commission, but I could be wrong.
Well, knowing Kalamazoo, I don't know.
I don't know. Never know. Yeah.
It'd be Kalamazoo, Battle Creek. They're moving towards each other anyway.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, do you work in coordination with the other film commissions? I think Pinellas has one, do they not?
They do, actually. And that's been a really great opportunity for these 2 communities to come together. Both of us are fairly new film commissioners. I've been on board for almost 2 years now. Tony's been on board for about 6 months. And, there hasn't been a history of Pinellas and Hillsborough County working together in this medium. And Tony and I are of the same train of thought of that makes absolutely no sense. When a film production comes to Tampa Bay, they could come to call me and say, well, I'm in Tampa Bay, so I'm calling you and I need a beach. And then I say, okay, well, actually, I'm Hillsborough County. I don't have a beach. But Tony has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world.
Gee, you're forgetting about Apollo Beach.
Oh, I know. But, it just makes sense. Filmmakers don't see city and county lines. And so
exactly.
We have been very adamant about working together as communities and together towards the goal of realizing more production in Tampa Bay.
But you're a family person, and you're kind of committed by family to still live here and stay here and build this up, correct?
I am, and actually, I spent some time in Tampa in the 90s while I was at USF, and I was lucky to have my younger brother with me, and he actually was on the inaugural football team for USF.
Oh, really?
So
were you a cheerleader?
I was not. No. I was his cheerleader. But we both just really loved the time that we spent here while we were in college, and luckily we've now found both of ourselves raising our family in this community.
Oh, really?
And I found it to be such a welcoming community. It's not only do we have all of these amazing locations and great quality of life, but it's a fun and hip and family destination also.
There's a lot of good things to say about it. And many people don't realize that actually within this county was once the Hollywood of the East Coast. Sun City. Not Sun City Center, but down 41, just south of Ruskin
Okay.
is a crossroads, and it's called Sun City. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
There is a little place, that's why Sun City Center is called Sun City Center, because Del Webb tried to buy the name because he wanted to be the same as he had out west. Couldn't get it because these people said the heritage was too high. But if you go into that little community, go back in the back, you will find sound stages from the silent era that they've used for all kinds of storage of tomatoes and
that sounds like a
things.
treasure hunt. I got to go look for that.
But when Hollywood opened up and the talkies came in, everything moved. But at one point, this was the Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, actually,
so we have a tradition.
Most people don't know that the film industry started in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, everybody thinks it was Hollywood, but back in those days, the early talkies, they actually started in Jacksonville, Florida.
And many of the Mack Sennett comedies were shot here in those sound stages around Sun City.
I have to go find those. That sounds so neat.
When you do it, let me know. I've always wanted to drive back and have some reason to get to see some of these old buildings.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and it's also, you know, you talk about Sun City. I laugh about it sometimes, but I always say that we sell sunshine. Because, you know, one of the greatest assets that we have as a market is not only our great weather, which is, you know, I think our average temperature is around 70 degrees annually, beautiful weather, big puffy white clouds and blue skies and green grass, and but also our diversity in locations. You know, not everywhere gets to have a port.
Oh yeah, we've got a great port.
We have an amazing port, and and the leadership over there is very film friendly, as is our international airport. So to be able to have those two transportation meccas as a destination for film and transportation as well has been a huge, huge asset for us when we were out there selling our market. And then I didn't even scratch the surface of Ybor City. You know, I mean, that's like, it's like a giant backlot, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, and
sure.
I
with
get
all kind of characters.
I know, and history and culture, and you know, I tell you what, I thoroughly enjoy my job, and you know, I always say it's not often I think that people get to say that they have their dream job, and I absolutely do.
What is the future of film here? I think you need a lot of legislative support from the state legislator. And I understand that you're going back and forth a lot up there.
So a lot of my time is spent lobbying, essentially. You know, the film industry, what a lot of people may not know is that because it is such a highly sought after industry, it is incentivized. We can blame the Canadians for this because they started this about 20 years ago.
That's why everything has made in Canada on the bottom of it?
Exactly. And now the new trend is made in Georgia. So, you know, these areas, these countries and states have recognized the economic impact of this industry, and they now are basically vying for it and creating these very aggressive incentive programs. So, you know, you look at Florida and you say, well, then why aren't we doing it? And we are, but at the same time, we're one of the only states in the nation that does not have an income tax, which is great for us who live here, not so great when you have to go to Tallahassee and ask for money. So, you know, what we do a lot is education, and we just try to educate the legislators continuously, not just during session. This is an all year ordeal, I guess, talking about, you know, the high wage nature of the industry, the ROI on our existing program, the tourism aspect of it. You know, not very many industries have the trickle-down effect that the film industry does. You know, if you think about when a film comes to your market, they come in, they hire our high-wage workforce, they stay in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants, they get rental cars, they hire accountants, they hire attorneys. It really touches every aspect of our local economy in a positive way.
Block off streets.
Yeah.
Have policemen having to do that. All kinds of different things.
Absolutely. So it really is an economic engine, and it's the kind of industry that you want. And so, you know, we want to make sure that our legislators are educated on the process. There are sometimes, you know, misinformation about how the program works. It is a tax credit program. And what that means is that, but it's based on qualified expenditures. So this is not an upfront incentive program. This
So you
is
don't write them a check and say, come here.
absolutely not.
Okay.
You know, we are actually looked at as having one of the most fiscally responsible programs in the country. And we're very proud of that because we don't have to do as much as a lot of the other states because it is so pleasant and popular to film here. But we do have to have a program. I mean, we are losing infrastructure left and right, especially to our neighbors in Georgia and Louisiana who currently have very aggressive film programs. So, you know, at the end of the day, we really need to keep, you know, just keep on educating, keep it up every year, making sure that we're showing the value of the industry and, you know, and what a project like Dolphin Tale can do for your market.
Yeah, you mentioned Canada. Just as a sidelight, a friend of mine that was on the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Toronto told me, and he said this is true, that a film company came up there and they wanted to make it look like New York.
Oh, yeah.
And so they dirtied up the streets and put trash around and things. Went home at night, came back the next morning, and the Canadians had cleaned it all up.
That's not surprising. Yeah, yeah. No, it's actually, you'd be surprised. I'd say probably 50% of the time that you see New York on the big screen, it's actually Toronto.
Toronto, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I grew up in Ontario.
Oh, yeah.
As a child, and then I went back a lot, so I know Yonge Street and the various
Yep.
streets that are there. And yeah, a lot of the New York scenes are shot right in downtown Toronto,
Yep, yeah.
avoiding the bay.
Yeah.
Even with the bay
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, and again, we go back to that movie magic. You just erase that in the post-production if it gets in there, so.
What kills me is green screening. I mean, I watched how they made, I saw the thing that they made on Les Mis, and almost all the background was green screened in.
Well, you know, that's I mean, it's
Is that
obviously.
going to affect us with these location
It does.
shots?
It does a little bit, only because we do not have a lot of post-production facilities. So what happens is, while we are getting the benefit of the on-location film production, then they take it home and do the post-production. So, you know, I always say, let's not put the cart in front of the horse, because I think the step one in developing our market further is that we have to get these tax credits passed during legislation. Once we have a long-term plan with that, a multi-year funded program, then we can start talking about the development of sound stages and the development of post-production facilities and, you know, looking forward into, you know, what else we can do to make our area more attractive.
How is the legislature embracing this? Are you finding that is split on partisan lines, or is there a joint?
It's interesting. You know, I think we have great support and great champions on both sides of the aisle.
So much is partisan in this state. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, our champion in the Senate is Senator Dietert, and she was also a big supporter last year. And I think, you know, she's a senior leadership senator, and, you know, I think she's definitely going to get it done this year. On the House side, we have Representative Mike Miller from Orlando, who this is his freshman year, and I tell you what, he's kicking butt up there.
Really?
You know, and he is really passionate about the industry. And
On the restrooms, did he?
Yeah.
It's a joke with the reps.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, believe me, they love joking up there. But yeah, I think, you know, I think the next step is to get the governor's support, and you know, I think he's all about jobs. Well, these are high impact jobs.
How about our local representatives? Are
Oh,
any
absolutely.
of them on board?
Oh, you know, we have the biggest champion in County Commissioner Ken Hagan. You know, he really is ultimately responsible.
I really like Ken.
Ken's amazing.
He's a fabulous guy.
Call him Mr. Baseball, but he's, you know, obviously, you know, baseball is very important to him, and I know that he's got a lot of initiatives with that, but he's also been such a champion for the film and digital media industry, and really was the one who spearheaded the effort of revitalizing the Film Commission and bringing me on board. And so, you know, and he's been also very collaborative and, you know, aggressive. He has been the one who has allowed us to offer local incentives to save a couple of high impact projects like Tim Burton project and a Bryan Cranston film that we have coming up soon. So without his leadership, you know, I don't know that we would be seeing the activity that we are having right now.
How does the Film Commission and these people coming into town actually affect the people of Hillsborough County?
Well, you're
Trickle down, if you will. but I'm
absolutely. Well,
kinda
again,
curious.
it goes into everything from the small businesses to paying taxes. If you look at, one film that we had recently that was looking at filming here was going to be, they were going to spend $20 million in Tampa Bay.
Really?
Yes, and this is the Bryan Cranston film that we're talking about that's unfortunately going to have to film most of it in England. And so
But we'll get a piece of it?
we are getting a piece of it. And when
Okay,
it comes
that's
out,
The
and
head
it's,
of the camel's in the tent.
yeah, but it's also a true story, this film. And so, being able to share our history, part of our history with the world, again, you can't pay for that kind of exposure. Look at what Miami Vice did for Miami.
Oh, yeah,
That
sure.
it wasn't exactly a safe place to go and vacation in Miami. And then, who knew you'd have a television show with
Really wanted
guns
to see
and
Don
drugs.
Johnson.
And I know. But now it's a very popular vacation spot and it got cleaned up. And so, you look at that aspect of it, just the exposure, and then the numbers and the jobs. The workforce. I mean, we have such a high-skilled workforce that, again, they're having to go out of state for work. So putting these people to work and letting them sleep in their own beds at night is just tremendous value.
Sure is.
And then, I haven't even scratched the surface of the education institutions.
I was wondering if there's any tie-in with the film schools and things of that nature.
Absolutely. We call it the brain drain because right now we have a lot of educational opportunities and institutions in our market. You've got University of Tampa, you've got HCC, you have Tampa Bay Community Network that are offering education in this medium, and they're having to go out of state. So essentially, we are educating another state's workforce by not having enough work here, which is, again, a result of the lack of incentives that we have.
It'd be nice to see these people be able to get jobs without having to
Absolutely.
go to California to get them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we have all the pieces. We just need the help from our state leadership. And, again, at the county level, we've already put our own skin in the game by offering up our own local incentives. But this needs to be a statewide initiative, and we're not going to be able to affect, an $8 million incentive program as a local jurisdiction. That's just not something we're capable of, but the state is, and they need to be looking at this as an industry that they need to be vested in because they have already invested in it.
Well, Georgia put a campus of one of the largest film schools right there in Atlanta.
Oh, I mean, don't even get me started on Atlanta. They currently have, I think, 22 active television series filming.
Really?
Absolutely. They have one of the largest sound stages in the world was just constructed over the last 2 years called Pinewood Studios. And I read an article the other day that they're talking about turning it into a movie-making city around the soundstage.
Wow.
So setting up businesses to support the soundstage.
Our granddaughter graduated from that school, but over on the East Coast there in Georgia.
Yeah.
And unfortunately could not find a job in the industry.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
graduated top of her class.
Wow.
It's just very difficult interest. Now she's in the Army studying Russian.
Oh, well, good luck to her on that.
Oh, she's a really bright young lady. She really is. And sooner or later, I feel her first love is to go back to the film industry.
Yeah.
But you got to pay the bills and pay
You
off
do.
college.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what a lot of our students are struggling with. And so, as the leaders of our communities, we need to take their futures into our own hands and do something about it. And so that's what I'm personally charged with. That's what our county commission is charged with, and that's what our state leadership is charged with.
What can the average person in Hillsborough County that's watching the show, what then they do to help you?
It sounds so simple, but just reach out to your legislators. I know that I think it can be intimidating sometimes because people do not have all of the statistics. They think they need to know wages and ROI, and really at the end of the day, just picking up the phone, looking up who your local representative or senator is, and sending them an email or calling them and say, I support the film industry and I wish you would as well. that goes so far.
Well, they consider for every one message they get like that, there's 15 or 20 people that think that way but didn't write the letter.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it'd be very valuable.
Yeah, and these are our elected officials.
And the
These are-
county commissioners, you can reach them all with one button.
Absolutely, yeah.
Put one message up, go click,
Yeah.
click, click, and you got them all.
Yeah, and they can, and they can reach out to us too. I mean, we are a nonprofit organization servicing our community, and so we're here to, not only try to market the area and bring new filming in, but help the existing filmmakers too, and aspiring filmmakers. I got a letter from a student just the other day, from a senior level high school student, asking for a 2-week internship in our office, and I was so thrilled to see that kind of initiative coming out of our high schools, and that kind of passion. So anytime I can support anybody that wants to get into this industry and give them some advice, door is wide open.
We've talked about a lot of things, Film Commissioner Gordon, but I want to give you a second or two. If there's something that I haven't asked you and it's a hot button that you want to put out, please do that now.
Okay. I think I just want to impress upon people again how excited we are as a community to be having the new initiative of marketing the film to the film industry. When I was in Orlando, I used to always wonder why Tampa wasn't bigger. And I used to look down the road and say, wow, they've got a lot going on down there. How come they're not
better?
Better. Or bigger, I said. Bigger.
Okay,
yeah.
bigger.
So
Okay.
I didn't understand why they weren't doing more. And now that, I think it was just because the leadership here in the community had not prioritized it at that time. And now that they have, I mean, we are open for business, and we have the support of our leadership and have set up one-stop permitting, and it is, we're receiving feedback and already seeing double numbers that we were having last year. And so with film production, commercial production, and indie film production. And so the future for me is so bright, and I'm so excited, and we just need that one last piece of the puzzle with the state legislators, and I tell you what, we're taking over.
Well, we're going to put this on the air, over the air to start with, but sooner or later, this is going up on the web.
Oh, yeah.
And you should make it a point to send a copy of this show to every state legislator.
Absolutely.
So they
We'll
get
do
a
that.
chance to see it operating. And I'll put it on my Facebook page.
you.
I've got almost 5,000 Facebook friends.
Wow,
so,
wow.
around the world. And by the way, last thought,
Uh-huh.
when Bollywood came here, I have probably 700 to 900 friends in India. They were abuzz about this place called Tampa.
That was a great international opportunity for us, and we were thrilled to have been chosen for that. I mean, you can't buy that kind of media as far as, Hollywood Reporter, Variety magazine, every major network. It was something.
I have several Indian film stars that are among my friends, and oh yeah, Tampa's great. What a wonderful place. Hope we come back there.
Yep.
It's going to be a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dale Gordon, Film Commissioner for the Film and Digital Commission here in Hillsborough County. I thank you so much for being on the show. It's been very enlightening to me. You're unique, you're special, and you're great. Tell yourself so often, because you are, And be sure to go to your county commission, be sure to go to your state legislators and tell them we need to make this film effort work. Thank you for being with us, and Dale, thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.